get comfortable and get some popcorn and check out this daily market review for the election day. Hey everyone, this is my channel to help investors and traders develop a probability-based mindset to succeed. Also try and keep friends informed of what's going on in the markets and the economy, and also a little real estate content as well. This is Dan Max at eXp Realty, aka the Trading Agent. This is your daily market review for Tuesday, November 5th, election day. Well, typically, Stock Traders Almanac, the days after election are bullish. We will see. Honestly, I have zero expectations other than I figured we would bounce. We talked about it being oversold, market down going into the election, expecting Trump, again, whether you like him or not, to win. Now, we don't know what will happen. We've seen crazier, and you can, again, assume all sorts of things by that comment, but meaning that I don't think we'll know the answer tonight. And that's where I'll be amazed if the market's up tomorrow or down. We don't know. But in my opinion, as we talked about, economic data falling off a cliff, I don't think either candidate can really do too much at this point to really stop the ultimate bleeding, because we've got geopolitical risk, we've got bottlenecks, we've got economic issues. It's going to take an act of God to get the economy moving in the right direction, in my opinion, because there's a lot of moving factors. You got Congress is going to have to pass some bills. And again, if you look at how the consumer's doing, they're not doing well. Higher interest rates are actually inflationary as well. People don't realize that the cost of going business goes up when you raise rates. Think about the cost of owning a house. Well, think about the cost of borrowing from a bank. The cost of doing business goes up. And it's one of those things where to kill inflation, you have to kill the economy. That's the reality here, especially when you get stagflation. So what does that mean with the market? We'll see. Just be careful. That's all I can say. No one knows for sure, because the market could rise potentially. Maybe people see greatness coming. Maybe it does rise. But you got to do what you think is best. And so that's where we step in and say it's a probability-based game, and let's do our best to figure it out. So if you're new to the channel, check out the Discord room. Link in the description below. If you have any questions about investing, buying, selling real estate, please don't hesitate to reach out. Use the Calendly link in the description below, and let's chat. Do not go work with a baseline anything. Like, would you go to a baseline therapist, doctor, lawyer, dentist? No. You would try to find the best. And so same thing. Let me help you find the best agent in your area to hit your goals. It's just that simple. You get two agents for the price of one. I love the negotiation part. I love the strategy sessions. Again, there are things that are working in this market, and there are things that are absolutely killing buyers and sellers in this market. If you don't know, you don't know. Just remember, not all agents are the same. So, all right, here we go. Check out the Twitter. You know what to do with it. Tons of trades on here. Posting things. Again, today just pretty quiet. I really don't know what to say. Again, if you see all this stuff and you think it's pro-Trump or not, just remember there's a lot going on. The exit polls, keep an eye on it. People in general who look at X or Twitter, again, I don't think either party does much of anything. They just fight. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Again, I appreciate it. Again, this is not political. Again, we try to do what the money's going to do. And if you think one candidate's better for the economy than the other, that's fine. You can argue till you're blue in the teeth, but most times than not, markets have gone up either way. It just depends on whether we're in a recession or what the future outlook brings. Man, it's hard to be worried about it, but I think a lot of people get emotionally invested in the outcome or get emotionally wound up in what's going on, which I get. There's a lot to be emotionally tied to, especially if you've lost a job, you're hurting, you're struggling. I get it. However, let's turn profits into properties and passive income. Let's do our best to make money in this market. Again, it's a trader's market. When the risk is to the downside, you play the down. When the risk is to the upside, you should play the up. It's that simple. So we know coming up, this is what's crazy. You have an election, and then Thursday you have an FOMC meeting. Quadruple whammy. This craziness, right? Like, again, this election will not be figured out potentially by Thursday. Who knows? Maybe it is. But even then, you have the feds start cutting rates. All right, we'll see what happens. Bitcoin, all over the place. Not surprised we got a little bounce, back test the trend line. We'll see. I mean, I'd be looking for a head and shoulders top or a confirmation of a breakout. You need to get over 74,000. If not, you have potentially a complex head and shoulder formation, which, again, sometimes it's not always simple. Like head and shoulders, as we talked about, because you can have them on the lows, you can have them on the highs. Again, it's just a potentiality. But if it is, you should expect to head lower. However, it looks like if you draw this, and again, this is why I don't bring a ruler to trading. Sometimes why I hate some of these is like there's some sort of trend here. Hopefully that makes sense. So just be safe out there. That's all I can say. I don't know. Oil, as we talked about, geopolitical risk dollars make sense. Be careful. I don't know. Again, we talk about the downside risk. I don't think there's a ton of downside, but ultimately, if there is demand destruction, the economy slows, there is going to be downside. I just don't know. We're not going negative future prices, in my opinion, because we have shortages. Worth a watch. Natty gas, man, this thing has been all over the place. Saw the KOLD pop 5 points. Good. Again, remember these are the futures contracts rollover, so it's not always going to look the same. But I'd like to see somewhere in the ones. I've said that over and over. I will hold myself to that number, and will we get there? We'll see. We don't know for sure. All right, dollar seems to be starting to find lower lows off of the highs. We talked about this potentially being a blowout candle. We got the retest. We'll see. Again, I personally don't really have a position in the dollar other than I'd be watching it just to see. Volatility in the dollar usually precedes volatility in the markets. TLT, as we've talked about, could this be the bottom here? I thought it might be this, but then look at the volume. I don't know why I didn't slide this guy over. Look, that's big volume. Need to get over 93 over the 20-day at this point. They confirm. Just be careful. VIX talked about the 22, 23 areas staging. Backed off. Okay. I mean, are you surprised? Not really. I mean, again, this is what we talk about in the channel. Like, it's not always going to be easy. Not straight line moves. VIVX seems to be holding up pretty well. SPY, nice rally. Again, I guess anticipating a win, which we talked about. Again, if you saw the post, said don't be surprised if you test this gap. And then also, too, would you be surprised if we hit the 20-day? I mean, it's not surprising in my opinion. QQQ, I mean, you drop down, there's going to be dip buyers, right? Like, think about it in a trend. And if you've ever read Reminiscent of a Stock Operator, how operators work, again, that's why you don't go down in straight lines and don't go up in straight lines. And usually straight lines are at the end of a move, right? Like a hoo, right? That's the end of the move, not the beginning. So anyway, QQQ said the same thing today. Watch what happens. It could test the top of this gap. Maybe it fills the gap. I don't know. There could be games abound. IWM, I know the put call ratio got pretty puttish. IWM, again, we talked about needs to lead up. Been chopping. Keep an eye on it. Again, it's not going to be easy sometimes. That's what everyone wants it to be easy. And that's why we talk about trading around positions. Why? So you don't get caught holding gains that turn into losses, or you don't harvest any gains. The next thing you know, you're just sitting there going, woulda, shoulda, coulda. Gold, again, I'd like gold long term. I don't know near term. Silver, I do see a lot of puts being bought in the miners. Silver, same kind of thing, not really leading up anymore. GDX, look at this thing. It just got, right? Gold's near the highs, and this is off 10%. Needs to hold the 50-day. Keep it simple, stupid. GDXJ. Here you go, right? Why is it? I mean, again, you've got a base, but man, it should be closer to the highs. AEM, talked about people seeing puts in that. Okay, again, you heard it here first. Again, I appreciate Jay Solstice, the boys and girls in the Discord room talking about it, because again, someone knows something. They always do. Again, they nailed the SMCI trade, which again, someone always knows something. AG, here you go, starting to melt back. Doesn't make sense. Newmont, like, look at this. If gold's gonna be going gangbusters, why did Newmont get absolutely beaten? Pass. And again, I'm not saying that it has to go necessarily lower. These could be some of the near-term bottoms, but this is not the action you expect. Again, as we talked about, in the market, if the market pulls back heavy, they throw the baby out with the bathwater. And if you've never heard that saying, well, you heard it here again. Keep an eye on this stuff. We like it long term, but near term, no question that it's risky as shit. Taiwan Semi, we talked about this top, chopping around, 20-day. Micron, again, chips playing some games. Not surprising. Again, if you zoom out, you see big games being played here. In my opinion, at some point, you will get the rollover. That's why if you short that range highs and you're patient, you typically do well, and then you trade around your position. Like if you were short AMD, as the candles get a little smaller, don't be surprised if it, after a big down move, that maybe it pounces a little bit. If it doesn't, great. That's why you manage your position. You trade around it. Make sense? NVIDIA, again, I expect this thing to get beaten in the long term. But it's again, when's it die? I don't know. I thought it was dead here. Nope. Came back to life. The Undertaker came out of the coffin. Ooh! Still feels a little weird getting added to the Dow, just like Intel did at the very highs. Be safe. SMCI, speaking of, after hours, back at 23. Earnings, I mean, I don't even know what they said for the earnings. I'm assuming they talked about kitchen sinking the quarter, as I talked about in yesterday's recap. Not surprised. We'll see what happens here. Intellectual property, a lot of people think it's going higher. Okay. Getting removed from the Dow, that doesn't really matter to me. It's just a $110 billion company that has no growth and needs bailouts. I mean, again, if you're going to get a bailout, they're going to destroy the equity, typically. That's just how it goes. SMH, check it out, 248. Keep an eye on it. Adobe. Keep an eye on it. Again, we talked about these names just getting cooked. Okay, gonna make a rise to the 20-day. Apple holding the 100-day area. I mean, everyone knows that the next phone is where the money's at. There's no one buying the 16. Keep it simple, stupid. Amazon seems to have a lid on it at 200, worth a watch. If it breaks out, I'll be impressed because that means Bezos stops selling for maybe a minute. Meta, talked about Zuckerberg kissing the ring. We talked about holding the 50-day yesterday. Not surprised. CRM holding up really well. Credit where credit's due. Keep an eye on it. Guggenheim, chop, 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 chop. After the gap fill, not surprised. I mean, look at that. They just couldn't get out fast enough. I thought it would fill the gap. But again, in a downtrend, you don't fill all gaps. Just like in an uptrend, you don't fill all gaps right away or ever potentially. It's not guaranteed. So if this is a downtrend, that would make sense. The gap didn't fill. Keep an eye on it. Microsoft, chopping around. Chop, chop. Another one holding the range lows. See what happens here. NDAQ, back good to 76. Congrats. Again, I think long term, this is the easiest trade is short. It's just when does it turn out? And again, if you got stopped out, that's fine. Remember, the puts are really cheap on this stock. That's why buying out in time makes sense, but defining your risk either way. And again, the premise is ultimately this, that when the next bull market emerges from the ashes of whatever happens, it will not be tech that's leading. Tech is priced in the future. You need inputs. You need materials. You need industrials. You need people who put this stuff together for them, not the outputs. That's not what we want. I'm telling you, that's investing looking backwards. AI is here just like the internet was here after 99, 2000, but the stocks acted like crap. MicroStrategy, talked about this today. This wick, worth a watch. Not a great close. Netflix, holding up, chopping around. Okay, keep an eye on it. Roblox, gaps up. Okay, we talked about, is it going to consolidate? Maybe. I'd be watching what happens if it gets back to the 48 if it does. Pan W, here you go. Chopping around. We like cybersecurity long term. Just watch the 380 level. Tesla, this is one that we talked about shorting. Now, if you didn't take any profits yesterday, shame on you. Again, I mean, we've talked about this, how Tesla, Elon, President Trump, whatever you want to talk about, buddy. Are you surprised after it goes from 270 down to 230s, upper 230s, 240? Might be a little bounce. Just be careful. Again, this is why you manage your positions. Insight, we talked about this one getting bought out. You're welcome. Cranking. Keep it simple, stupid. Palantir, we talked about this. Popped on earnings. Growth looks good. Don't know what to say. Near term, I mean, this is where, again, the 3-day rule is in effect. Right? 1, 2, 3. Let's see what happens. Either this is a gap and trap or this is a gap and just go. And when I say go, I mean like, who knows? Blow it out. 50, 60, 70, who the hell knows? McDonald's, E. coli, chopping around. DraftKings, chopping around. I mean, again, I think this is dead money. Just be careful. Airbnb, earnings coming up on Thursday. Today's wick is a little ominous. Again, I'm not going to say for sure, but I would definitely keep an arrow on that. That just looks a little funky because we get the 200-day fine. Today's candle, someone was distributing. Somebody knows, always someone knows something, man. Costco, chopping around. Starbucks, we talked about chopping around. And this is the thing, right? They kitchen sink the quarter after taking on the CEO from Chipotle. Now it looks like they're waiting for the numbers to come out in future growth. If it doesn't happen, if it does, fine. FedEx, being patient. Come on. Just watching. Caterpillar. People took some shorts on this. Makes sense. Probably took a little profits. Watching. Hanging out. Be safe. Deere hits the 4. I don't know. 4. Don't want to say it. 420, bro. Gets up there. Backs off. Seems to be building a base here. I'd be watching it because it could rally right back. Nucor. Again, we like commodities. Let them play out. X looks like it's going to get bought out. It's just, I don't know. Will that all change if someone else wins the presidency? We'll see. VALE, we like commodities. Again, just let them get beaten. Let them play out. Let them just get crushed. Arrow, we talked about maybe bouncing here. Makes sense. CCJ. Chopping around. CF. Chop around. Again, had some nice pops on some of these names. Worth a watch. I mean, they've been absolutely throttled. Hit some 200 days, back off. Again, you got to eat long term. I think there will be growth. Whoever wins the presidency, again, I think not necessarily they're going to be the directive to have more children, but I think they're talking about that ultimately we don't want to become like Japan. People need to feel more comfortable, especially China. I think they will probably start pushing for different rules as well. We'll see. Who knows? Again, it's speculation. from the bench. AA, again, we like aluminum. Zoom out, there's big choppy ranges. Y'all know, y'all seen it. Oh, fine. See, we like it long term. It's a big basing pattern. I would love to see it back in the mid to low 20s. XLF. Are you surprised it bounced? No. Again, we talked about this has been a bugger. It's a real bugger. Now, if you short it up near the range highs, you're feeling pretty good. Again, like who's buying JP Morgan? They're not even buying back their own stock. Who's buying Morgan Stanley? They're okay. We'll see. 20-day Bank of America. I mean, Buffett can't sell this shit fast enough. Now, again, does that mean that they don't get bailouts and get fixed later? No guarantees. Goldman just chopping around, but in my opinion, they're the most risky. They hold all the risk in the market. Carry again. How many junior banks got to freaking go belly up? I know they're trying to keep this up. You can see it. Now, again, does it have more upside? That's the question you have to ask yourself. To me personally, I think it makes sense to short financials. XBI, as we talked about, again, a risk-on name. Chopping around. Cool. Keep an eye on it. Jets. Feels like the Jets should be a loser, but holding up pretty well. Again, I know some folks who are looking at the short. I mean, knowing them, they're managing it best they can. That's all you can do. XHB. Bounce. Look at that, fills the gap. I mean, we talked about the 20-50-day confluence would be a great place to watch. And speaking back of Jets, again, like look at this. Like, if you think the economy is weakening, do you think airlines are going to do great? I mean, after a move like that, it's very simple short. Whether it's right or wrong, it's not about right or wrong in the sense it's just simplicity. Like define your risk. Keep it simple, stupid. You have willing to lose 40, 50 cents. I don't know, $1 to make $3, $4, $5, $6. You tell me. Oil. Nice little bounce. Check it out. UNG. Again, I hate this product. People just back near the lows. KOLD. Again, we talked about shorting up here in the 80s. This is what you're waiting for. Watching. XOP. Again, I'd like oil and gas long term. I just don't want to play the game here. Now, we did break over and then close back into multi-day range. This one's tough. Again, I think if Trump is leading, oil and gas acts better. It's just a fact. Oh, I forgot solar. Speaking of solar, like they played catch up, right? Nice bounces. They're big choppy ranges. Sedge, I apologize, out of order, but talked about going to 15. Wait, let it go. Let it close out your short. Let it pop. Again, oversold. Here you go. ENPH hit the range lows. Bounce for solar gaps. Again, we talked about all these names. This is why you trade around them. I would be watching that 50-day confluence at 220s. Okay, sorry. Back to XOP again. Multi-day range. 10 cuidado. Be careful. CVE. Chop. Watch the range. Again, when you zoom out on a lot of these names, they all look very suspect, meaning like similar patterns. Suspect of the base. Big patterns where I'd love to see them blow out the bottoms. Then you buy them and they rally back. Valero, big. But again, these names have been down. NPC, man, that's a big move from them. Let me think about it. It went from like 2.5, 3 years ago, $10 up to $220. ExxonMobil, again, oil and gas looks like it's going to break out, but it's just a big chop zone. Occidental, same thing. Buffett probably is just, everyone's like, oh, it blew his cost base. I'm like, you don't know his cost base. He's probably sold covered calls on this so deeply that his cost basis is probably under $10. People are like, well, how the hell does he do that? Well, again, leave a comment below. Reach out. I'll let you know how he does that. Covered call king. EQT, same thing, big choppy zone. And again, I think we'll be flex LNG, natural gas exporters long term. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. Always here to help. A few people have reached out recently. Again, try to give you the best advice possible. If you're looking for certainty in a probability-based game and you think that just because you have pocket aces you can't lose, you are incorrect. That's not how it works. So let me know how I can help. See you in the Discord room. Have a great night. Be safe, please. Second mouse gets the cheese. First can get the trap. Be safe out there.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you have any questions, stop by the Discord room. A link is in the description below. Also, if you'd like to help support more free content, the PayPal link is in the description as well. I appreciate your continued support of the channel.